My friends, this is an important news update for Infowars.com. It is Wednesday, the 17th day of August, 2011. Now, in the last few months, the corporate whore media that lie to you about WMDs and that tell you that the Federal Reserve is not private and who have been caught lying have tried to control your reality and talk to you like your 3-year-olds and say, you can't have Ron Paul. Too bad he's been right about everything politically coming true that he predicted years ago. You can't have him. Yes, people like him, but too bad he can't be elected. And that little self-fulfilling prophecy or hoax didn't work. And they tried the exact same thing in the last few years with Rand Paul. And they had the establishment Republicans attack him. And then once that didn't work, they had the Democrats come after him. And remember, they said he kidnapped women. He wasn't a medical doctor. He didn't graduate college. None of it was true. That he was a marijuana head wasn't true. That he worshipped aqua Buddhas. All sorts of bizarreness. Then, in 3 separate cases, they dressed up like Tea Partiers and ran around with racist signs. That backfired on him. Bill Clinton came to Kentucky, campaigned against Rand Paul. That backfired on him. I know the Pauls. They're real people. And their voting record shows that they never flip-flop. Ron Paul certainly never has. And he's going after the private banking cartel that hijacked this country in 1913 and has now run our country into the ground. So here's the big breaking news. Last Friday, when Rush Limbaugh panicked and said we've got to get Ron Paul, and the Democrats panicked and went after him, it was because they saw him hands down win that debate and the standing ovations, and then he totally stood out. Now, by Monday, it backfired. And people said, Ron Paul won. Ron Paul's winning most of the straw polls. He's in the top 3 in all the other polls. A lot of them number 1. This is a hoax that he can't win. And so the Daily Show, the Associated Press, and hundreds of other publications came out and said, okay, Ron Paul could win. He is a front runner. He's shaping the debate. Now, I said Monday, now watch for him to get the Rand Paul treatment. And we've already seen this before. They're going to go after him with the newsletters. And before the internet came around in the 80s and 90s, before it got really popular, there were all sorts of newsletters out there. They were the equivalent of the internet. And you'd have 10, 15 writers per issue. Ron Paul, over the years, allowed his name to be lended because he would have articles he wrote in them to more than a dozen newsletters. And there's been some mild stuff or mild debates in there. Now, that's kind of like Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. I mean, I post statements by the president. I post statements by Muammar Gaddafi. Doesn't mean I like either one of them. I have guest writers who I don't totally agree with. I don't totally agree with some of my writers sometimes. But the point is that doesn't matter. Ron Paul's record is there and clear to everybody for what he stands for. Okay? You can watch his speeches, read his books. It's all clear. So now they're going to shift from ignoring him and saying he can't win because that didn't work on the public. They're now going to shift to he's a racist. He's horrible. He's evil. And here is Paul Joseph Watson's article up here. Big Sis, latest terrorist, more white Americans. They've put out a bunch of videos now where all the terrorists are white and the minorities report them. That's another example of divide and conquer, where they're now trying to rebrand terrorism onto what they see as the white Tea Party. Now, here's another article. Corporate media switches tactics, attacks Ron Paul. And it gets into the fact that now they're not saying he can't win. They're saying, oh, okay, you want to know about Ron Paul? We did you a favor not telling you about him. He's so dangerous and such a racist kook. Look out, supporters. Now they're going to have another hoax saying Ron Paul has been discredited. Well, people thought he was rising in the polls, but people have now found out that he secretly, is in Congress with the devil in black magic rituals. They already said his son worships the aqua Buddha. By the way, Ron Paul's not a medical doctor. Turns out that was fake. And it won't matter that that's a hoax. They're just going to hit him with everything they've got. So, here is Politico, the people that got caught in the last week saying, Bachmann wins, Palente gets third. Not even mentioning Ron Paul. Well, now they're back. And so is the rest of the establishment, pro-Federal Reserve, media. This is the collaborator media. They collaborate with the foreign corporations that are totally destroying our country. So the enemy collaborators are going after the only real American, the only true patriot, the only true constitutionalist in the race, and they're saying, oh, you didn't like him being ignored? Well, don't worry. We're going to get into the New Republic reported in detail. And what do? They quote the New Republic, who basically lied and at best, completely exaggerated things out of thousands of different newsletters. It says the bulk of its subscription only, but the newsletters themselves are rife with deeply held bigotry against blacks, Jews, and gays. But they can never give any quotes in their articles. They just said that. It's like saying, yeah, there were these private newsletters. We're not going to quote them for you, but in them, Ron Paul said he likes to eat baby brains. Yeah. And it says, in short, they suggest that Ron Paul is not the plain-speaking anti-war activist his supporters believe they're backing, but rather a member of a good standing of some of the oldest and ugliest traditions in American politics, according to TNR Story. Well, there you have it. There might be some newsletter out there from 20 years ago, and I remember reading them. It was other authors, and it was mild. The point is, that's like going to Infowars.com and saying, look at this. There's an article written by Barack Obama in here. Alex Jones works for him. They're playing on your ignorance. So now they're moving from the Ron Paul doesn't exist. First they ignore you, then they attack you, then you win, Mahatma Gandhi. So they've gone from ignoring, now they're moving into the attacking. So you're going to hear he's got a tail. You're going to hear he barbecues children. You're going to hear he's not a doctor. I mean, I'm not joking. They're going to have Tea Party people at his events running around with pointed hats on. And they'll go get in Democratic operative cars. It won't matter. They're coming after Ron Paul, and we've got to stand firm. He's a real man of integrity. His record is clear, and they are going to throw everything at him. All right, I'm Alex Jones reporting from the front lines of Infowars.com. Please continue to spread the word about what we're doing because we can defeat these globalists.